Good afternoon, fans of Link Fast, fans of Randomizer, fans of Speed Gaming. Welcome to Speed Gaming Prime and this Link Fast Randomizer Daily Race. Today's mode is the standard hard item pool, which are the flags for the upcoming 2021 main tournament. We have 4 runners on our restream today: Hayfield Bay, Chimo, Oro, and Nitro 6003. I am MindDM, and I am joined in the booth today by Bright Beginner.
Hello, Restream. How is everyone's day today? Looking forward to a pretty fun seed, and overall see what the seed has in store.
We should probably talk a little bit, just in case we have anyone new to the hard item pool set here today, about what that entails. All items are placed in the game as normal, but there are limitations. Once you have found the 3rd sword, the 4th sword will turn into a green 20. Once you have found one bow, the other bow will turn into a green 20. There are no available male upgrades. Those will appear as green 20s from the start of the game. And the 3rd level shield would resort to a green 20. We have everyone underway here, and they found the first of those shields in Link's house.
Looks like we have a green pendant here as all I was able to catch. Ooh, blue cane.
It does appear that we will be doing the Cane of Burna escape today. This is one of the mildly trickier ones, as there's a relatively limited amount of magic available in the escape sequence. There are a couple in the dark, if you know where to look. So, being that it is a standard start, you start in the rain. As you've seen, the uncle hands you the random weapon, in this case the Cane of Burna, and you are expected to take that weapon and complete the escape sequence with it. Now, that does not mean that they cannot find another random weapon in one of the chests while they're in the middle of making this clear, but you have to go all the way down to Zilda's cell, rescue the princess, take out the ball and chain guard to pick up the big key down there and do so, and then wander all the way back out through the escape sequence in the dark until you have delivered the princess safely to the sanctuary. After that, you have a normal 7/7 seed. We see most of our runners here taking out a few guards, trying to find out what prize pack they're in, find out if there are bombs on offer. With that ferry there, I believe we are in high value, and there should be an 8-pack of bombs if they can get far enough in. Chimo, having found both the ferry and then that large magic decanter, does confirm that. We will have a bomb prize pack if they can get far enough in. Again, the limited magic with the Cane of Burna may make that difficult. One of the other things that I neglected to note, and will now that we have seen a heart appear in the randomized pool, is that the maximum number of hearts in hard item pool are capped. You can find Sank Heart, you can find, I believe, 6 other hearts, and then 16 pieces of heart. After that, each of those individual pools will resort to green 20s. Of course, there's not a second Sank Heart to revert to a green 20 in that case, but here we are.
And I believe the runners just picked up a mushroom to the cell, which means we may possibly have a drug deal with the witch.
Generally, I find that really early fetch quests like that are a little more valuable to turn in. There's just more that the game could potentially put on them. It appears that Hayfield is about a room ahead at the moment, but everybody has safely rescued the princess and is working their way back through the castle. So, Right Beginner, what are you expecting once we get out of here? That you would think Lost Woods checks and village checks, but what kind of direction are you expecting us to see from this seed early on?
To be completely honest with you, I'm thinking that they will go from the sanctuary down over by Houlihan, do the Houlihan.
Ooh, an early Houlihan play, huh?
Yeah. Maybe that'll dip in Eastern, possibly.
Hayfield up in our top left quadrant there, finding out that the rats are in the rupee pool and are not going to be giving him any bombs. But it appears that both Chimo and maybe Oro, I'm having trouble deciphering a little bit of pixelization there, have found the 8 bomb pack.
Ooh, they found a pretty nice bow down there. Helpful.
One would certainly think that Hayfield and Nitro are going to be looking for that later. That does look like a red crystal at Eastern, a regular pendant at Desert, and the green pendant as noted earlier. So kind of a mixed bag in the light world.
Oh, there's our bombs. We won't be really concerned about those anytime soon.
Yep, Tier 2 tree pull being bombs is reasonably handy. You just feel kind of bad that you're already through the escape sequence, and until you find a glove, the only way to go back and check those 3 chests would be to run all the way back through.
Oh, that's not a good.
Half magic on Lumberjack is not fun. It is one of the nicer safeties in this mode. You know, bottles are pretty good as well, powder, but you know, half magic makes a lot of things easier, especially since
Speaking
it
of the
started
devil,
with the Cane of Burna.
interesting. We're finally getting an Eastern Palace play. Go play the mushroom.
Kind of an interesting choice to do Eastern this early, but you got the bow, and you know, there are items on offer here, and as long as you're confident in your dark rooms, there's no reason that you can't pick up everything. A couple of our runners who went up to the Lost Woods have also found a bottle, so the small child can be checked while they're in the village.
And there's our glove.
Glove 1 in Sahasrarla's closet, this play already paying out for Chimo.
Oh, there's a book.
Literacy and a sword in Blind's hideout.
Now some money for potentially going up and paying our scamfish a visit. So far, Kakariko is really paying off.
Yeah, it seems that both of the primary directions our runners have chosen have really paid off. That glove for Chimo and the sword and the book for Hayfield and Oro. And Nitro, it looks like, may have had some magic problems, either that or has been trying to farm a bomb and is not going to find them on the rats, so is going to go ahead and complete the escape sequence here.
Solid runners are really looking, well, waiting to see right now is where the hammer's going to turn up. They just the Moonpearl and the well, so.
Along with the Ether Medallion. Now, we don't know yet if that Ether Medallion is going to have any value to us, but at least one of Misery Mire or Turtle Rock is going to have to be a crystal, so starting to complete the coin collection is handy at this point. The small child playing with in bed, I recommend against that generally. The hero should probably hang on to those.
Oh, yeah, now is German.
Hammer
We're
and
in
Eastern
no
Palace.
mode for Dark World.
Indeed we are. As soon as Chimo goes over to the village, Dark World access is going to be on offer. Just some money there on the race game. It looks like Oro may be going back for it, so Hayfield is going to gain a little time advantage by having blind run this race game. Chimo working his way through the lamp clock portion of Eastern Palace. This next check is decidedly out of logic, but, you know, you're already here, you may as well make the play.
Wow, Hayfield's gonna go check out Mini Moldworm Cave. Let's see what we get there. I kind of like Hayfield's routing with this Mini Moldworm checks early.
It is a nice dense location. You can go in, find 5 items, hope that something is of value. Unfortunately, it appears the answer today is no. I did catch Oro checking the stun prize with that boomerang and a blue guard. It appears to be 10 sticks. That could be handy later. Nitro hopping into the well, going to pick up his Moonpearl and Ether. While Chimo is just a room away from a fight with the Armos Knights.
Oh, and you have a big flute. You have a flute in Ice Rod Cave. I'm really expecting a divergence up to a compatible divergence up to Death Mountain at this point. But that flute is activated.
Death Mountain might be a nice play, but usually I would want to hold on and see if I can't find a mirror or a hook shot, try to make it more than just a 2-check play. We'll see what Hayfield does though, because clearly going to activate the flute right now. And Chimo punches out the first crystal of the match at 13 minutes and change. While it looks like Oro is going to be following along closely behind Hayfield's footsteps and picking up that flute in Ice Rod Cave. Nitro, having finished off the village, is going to make the village ancillary checks, these library and race game. Yeah, looks to be skipping the library entirely. Interesting. And Chimo has fake flippered over to the witch to turn in the mushroom. Sees a piece of heart and nopes right on out. And Bright Beginner, it appears you were correct. Hayfield takes that flute, flutes directly to 1. With Oro's flute activation, we'll see if we get a similar play there, or if instead we will get the play over to 5. Ah, it's neither. It's the play to 2 to turn in that mushroom. So we have Chamo and Nitro making these South Shore checks. Hayfield's up on the mountain. It looks like... what play is this from Oro, I wonder? Is this a fake flipper to the Zora area?
And play nothing on Death Mountain.
Yeah, piece of heart up top, 10 sticks inside. That's not going to help, and probably funnels Hayfield over to 5 pretty soon here. That's a nice fire rod there on the desert ledge, though. Of course, even Chimo, who's the only one of our runners with the first glove yet, would either need another glove or to find the book to go fetch that one.
In the meantime, we're getting a hobo check. Hobo just giving us a little bit of love.
Well, hearts are your primary safety in this mode. You will never find a mail upgrade, and Nitro is showing us that the Waterfall Fairy is handing out refills of Fairy in bottle. The chests there weren't anything interesting, but having that safety of the fairy to scrape you back up off the ground is pretty nice.
Nice little water walk set up by Nitro. And apparently, potentially be boots locked, but he's probably going there for that fire rod. Oro with the big Zora play. Oh, coin return. Technically not in logic, but good information to know.
And he has the bow and some bombs. It's entirely possible that Oro could see fit to do a splash deletion here and pick that coin up.
In the meantime, Hayfield picked up the fire rod.
And casually, like you do, Chimo finally here at 18 minutes into the southern half of the village. Kind of easy to forget because of the early routing going over there to Eastern and finding all of the things that all of these village checks were still on offer. Oro with the successful splash deletion there.
In exchange, we'll get the Frilly coin.
Nitro getting into the back of the escape here, having found the first glove at Sahasrara. He'll be rewarded with the bow. As I stop and think about it, that's probably what is disincentivizing Hayfield from making that play over to the eastern area, lack of bow. And there is Chimo with Dark World access. Dark World access acquired at 20 minutes.
Hopefully Chimo decides to go that desert once he gets his book. I'm hoping that's what he'll do. That would really help him out with his Dark World routing a lot.
Yeah, I feel like that may be the downside of finding your Dark World access here after having done all of the other kind of early Light World checks. You'd be really inclined to go ahead and make the play here. Although with the flute, you can go down to 6 pretty quickly, check that ledge, and find out that it's something important, so we shall see. Yeah, and it looks like Chimo is going to head directly for the Dark World at the Kakariko Village portal. Now, Nitro, it appears, unfortunately, did Mini Moldorm Cave, but then did the fake flippers rather than going on to Ice Rod Cave and finding that flute. That's going to be an unfortunate second trip through the South Shore area.
And I didn't get to catch what was on the pedestal. Must not have been nothing.
Just money, and it appears that all of our runners have plenty of that. The only one who is a little low is Oro and Hayfield, who I believe have both checked the Zorlord already. No, I don't think Hayfield has. Hold on.
No, I do not believe so.
I was just looking at the top rupee counts versus the bottom rupee counts, and it kind of felt like since Oro had made the Zorlord check that having very similar monetary totals that Hayfield would have as well. But no, I think you are right.
Now Oro just received his Dark World access 23 minutes in.
And thinks that that is good enough, just wants the crystal from Eastern at this point, and then we'll happily dip out.
Well, Hayfield gets the news. He has to go back to Eastern to clear it whenever he wants to.
At this point, I believe that Hayfield is fairly low on locations, and between Sahasrara and now that bow incentivizing the clear of Eastern, I think that's going to be the play we see. While Nitro has that book out and sees the fire rod, yeah, entering desert.
I have predicted he goes in the Skull Woods. He's in the Skull Woods. Not a bad decision.
Finds a heart in the big chest, and the front side of it is going to go have a look at the middle. Unfortunately, Chimo, not having made that play over to the desert area, is not going to have the fire rod and cannot go to the back here.
That's a crystal down, and Yeah. Going to Dark World.
Nitro getting the bad news that Desert is in fact boots locked, finding that compass in the central chest there. But the fire rod is a nice consolation prize, hanging out down there on the ledge, just a quick jaunt to the south, and Nitro will pick that one up.
In the meantime, I'll say he's going over to check South Dark World. Icefall is a 5/6, and Swamp is a pendant.
So we will get ourselves an ice rod hunt, and both of the medallion requiring dungeons are required as crystals today. We're looking for at least one and maybe more coins for that. But of course Oro already has 2 of them.
And a bottle of blue goo. Very nice safety to have. Side.
It's a nice one to find, but that was still pretty much a tripe cave, wasn't it?
Yeah. Bad hype cave, to be honest.
Hayfield following in Oro's footsteps here, finding that hammer in the big chest of Eastern Palace and deciding to head directly for the boss.
In the meantime, we're getting a clear for Chimo.
Yeah, it's not bad when you have Hammer Glove Dark World access and you have Crystal Thieves Town, you know? You don't have to worry about leaving anything behind in that big chest, so you can just go in and wipe it out.
Or are we going for that pod play? This is something really interesting.
Well, operating under the assumption that what you're missing is just the lamp, you know, you can assume that the rest of the dungeon is just in logic and that you're not going to find the lamp behind anything that you find here that enables further progression.
Well, pod is bow locked, but you have a bow, so it's still clearable.
It would have been interesting to see Chimo's decision had the Dark World access not been the Moon Pearl in the village. Because, of course, Oro found the glove and then the hammer later and was already in the Eastern and Pod area. And saved and quit back to the house and did Tripe Cave anyway, but just kind of an interesting difference in routing, and I wonder how much of it was simply based on where the 2 of them found their Dark World access. And Nitro is working through the lamp lock portion of Eastern Palace here. Picks up the small key and should be proceeding out of the room shortly.
Ooh, and a death on Oro. I don't know if it was an incidental death. Is that purpose? But I assume it was misfortune on Oro's side.
Now, I'll admit I was watching Nitro try to get out of that dark room and missed it entirely. But Palace of Darkness without the mirror is not the most fun thing in the world. Sometimes those intentional trips back to the beginning of the dungeon are the quickest way to get around. And we see that Hayfield has also opted for the Skullwoods Thievestown area rather than heading over towards the Palace of Darkness.
Now we get to take a little peek at what's in the back of Skullwood since he has a fire rod.
I believe, although chat or the trackers can correct me on this if I am mistaken, but I believe there is an item left back here, and of course it is another one of those crystal dungeons that you do need to clear to beat the game.
In the meantime, we're getting a decent blind fight by Chimo. This is done by Chimo.
Yeah, that was a very clean fight, just finds 50 for the trouble, but nice to pick up that second crystal of the game at 30 minutes and change. Looks like we're getting some hammer strats on the moth here from Hayfield.
The hammer came in really good clutch. And you got roasted lamb.
Lamp on Mothula, okay. That is Hayfield's second crystal of the game at 31 minutes and change.
$14 digs for green rupee.
That is unfortunate. And Hayfield is going to take one of those free trips back to the beginning of Skullwoods. And Nitro has also collected a crystal here, the crystal off of the Armos Knights. Oro does not seem to have found anything particularly interesting here in the Palace of Darkness, but is heading for the boss anyway. Of course, the boss has one of the crystals that you need.
Chimo is going for a nice safety.
Catches that blue goo in the bottle in the back of Tripe Cave, an otherwise uninteresting cave, but it's nice to have the safety on hand. Nitro, heading into the front of Skull Woods, has decided against that, maybe heading for the middle first to pick up a key. Or may just be going to the back. Although the tracker does not show it, I believe, yes, there is the fire rod in Nitro's inventory. The fire rod was on Desert Ledge.
Yeah, really question. Oh. Yeah, I forgot you got the second item.
So it appears that Hayfield has found both that lamp on Mothula and the other item was a full heart container, if I'm recalling that correctly.
Ooh, nice item. That is safety to have. Unfortunately, did not know where to keep.
The first of the swords was in Blind's hideout, and the second sword was on Bottle Vendor to answer a question in chat.
Well, Oro, on the other hand, is getting a Amosaur fight.
That was very cleanly through fully dark turtles, no fire rod, no lamp, still through. That's what still gives me trouble.
Shoutouts to Oro for that. Pretty clean Helmosaur fight there for Oro. Getting 3 bounds for his trouble.
And Nitro taking an unfortunate death there, getting a little bit bullied by some mini Moldorms in the back of Skullwoods. And it appears that the Gibdos are in the magic pool. That is nice to know. Meanwhile, we have Chimo in the front portion of the Palace of Darkness, Hayfield Bay, making the play into Thieves Town, and Oro heading into that general vicinity as well. So almost everybody except for Chimo, who seems to be our outstanding star for routing divergence this afternoon, is over there on the west side of the Dark World, or soon to be in Oro's case. So here is Nitro into the Mothula fight, is opting for Master Sword spins rather than the hammer. Unfortunately is a little low on health and had to have the fairy pick him up off the ground a little bit earlier on in this section of the dungeon, so this is a dangerous spot. And the spike trap comes in from the right. That is unfortunate. It appears that Chimo has safely navigated the dark maze and is going to use one bomb to go back to the beginning of the dungeon. DW Magus, I agree, but that's mostly because the moth cheats. The spikes are coated in such a way, and moth is coated in such a way that it does not take damage from them. So if you hit the boss into the spikes, well, you haven't really accomplished anything.
Yep, Lion's fin of the day. clean fight from Hayfield as well.
Yeah, very much so. That is Hayfield's third crystal of the match at 39 minutes and 50-ish seconds. That is a momentary crystal lead as Chimo is heading into the basement of Pod and barring any trouble down here. And
and the hook shot. Just really rewarded.
That is our hook in the brewery, I believe.
I believe you are correct.
Ooh, and Nitro with a little blue cane safety there does manage to take down the Moth on the second trip in, is rewarded with the lamp and Nitro's second crystal of the match at 40 minutes. Perhaps not the cleanest fight, but a fight that Nitro gets to walk away from and the Moth does not. And as it seems to be a bit of a boss rush between all of our restreamed runners here today, we now have Chimo into the Helmsaur King fight. And a very clean Helmsaur King fight there is going to be rewarded with crystal number 3. While we see that Hayfield is heading into Tripe Cave, will be rewarded with that blue goo in a bottle once all of these chests are cleared. Nitro searching out the second item in Skull Woods, having gone directly to the back first, and Oro in the midst of a Thieves Town play.
You know, taking that hook shot is going right over to Sidiel Man, then probably head over to East Desmond.
It'll be interesting to see if we see the climb up to Spectacle Rock first, just in case there's, the possibility exists in the mind of a runner who hasn't seen it yet that something like the mirror or the second glove upgrade could just be in there and make the eastern side of the mountain a little nicer. I always worry about forgetting to make one of those site checks and then hard last locating something there for a good 15 minutes. Not that I've ever done that as a restreamed runner before or anything, but it's just one of those things that you think about sometimes when you can't sleep because you lost a race terribly. Nitro, this is not going to work for you. That bomb is going to kill you. I always find this bomb jump to be rather finicky, even though I am at least minimally conversant with the spin slash setup for it. Sometimes it just feels like it doesn't want to work for me. But Nitro gets it on that try. So Chimo here is going to show us something new, has entered Paradox Cave.
Boomerang and shield.
That was a very red couple of checks. The other 5 are money, 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 the boots, and some bombs. Just one thing out of 7, but that one thing is reasonably important. We knew that Desert is boots locked, now that is pendant, but there are still 2 items hiding away in there. Either of which, or even both of which, could be useful to us. The hookshot was in the brewery homemade beer.
I mean, at this point, it's actually making a play into Desert, potentially fighting the Ice Rod, finding out what to the Rock is, and then going from there.
Chimo is going to make use of the literacy that was required bright and early in this seed and check Ether Tablet, which is just a 20. Now, the use of that literacy is important, but Chimo has not yet gone to the place where it is important. The Fire Rod on Desert Ledge is the answer that Chimo does not know is still on offer out there. Instead, we're getting a Tower of Terror play with a big key bright and early.
I mean, theoretically, I could see why he's putting the Fire Rod off. You could go to Tower of Terror on the Desert, get his Fire Rod, and then complete Desert all in one.
Oh, definitely. Or, hoping that you have the other glove and then you can chain it up with the Misery Mire checks. And Chimo attempting Harapot with no fire source, this makes all the sense in the world, since you're not going to be going down into the basement anyway.
Very clean.
While we were watching that, Hayfield was making very short work of the Helmsaur King and has picked up crystal number 4 at 47 minutes.
And there's our mitts. 47 minutes in, Chimo has gotten full Dark World. Oh, and
that is the play paying off, and even though this is a pendant, I believe the green pendant, we are going to see the boss clear. A very cooperative Moldorm there for Chimo. We have Nitro getting unfortunately bullied in the Hellway by those Gibos. And we're just not letting Nitro through at all.
And looks like Chimo might be one of the first runners to give us their To the Rock medallion check.
We have Oro finally picking up that Fire Rod. And I missed it while watching everyone else, but it appears that what Hayfield did there was found the big key and rushed the boss and is now going through to make all of the additional checks in the back of the Palace of Darkness.
In the meantime, Chimo's going to start To the Rock check.
These enemies just have it out for Nitro today. First it was the Gibos in the Hellway, and now it's the Crickets up top.
Well, now we have to also consider, where is our Quake? Is that on Chimo's screen yet? Turtle requires.
That is a good question, although those mitts have opened up quite a bit, so there are all sorts of places that it could be. The boots that Chimo found as well unlock a handful of checks. We have the cape in Super Bunny on Chimo's screen.
In that case, powder is readily accessible for them.
Now we get Oro heading into the back of Skull Woods. Looks like they're heading straight for the Moth, which is the correct play in all respects. It's Crystal, and while Oro does not yet know it, also has the second item of this dungeon.
Chimo making that Spike Cave play. Get you right with the Red Cane.
These are the plays that pay off. Sometimes you just have to take your safeties and go in and take a whole bunch of damage to find what you want. Hayfield, meanwhile, is in the middle of those light checks, and Chimo has seen that fire rod, dashes right on by, is going to go to Agina first, it appears. There is the Moth kill on Oro's side, rewarded with the lamp and Oro's 4th crystal at 52 minutes. That ties things back up between Oro and Hayfield. Chimo has 3 crystals, should pick up the fire rod here shortly, which will put Skull Woods on the table. And Nitro has 2 and is heading for blind, which would be the 3rd. Now we may see something a little different here from Chimo. Chimo is the only runner who has gone to get the fire rod and had the boots at the time. So while Desert is boots locked, we may actually see some more checks here.
I suppose Chimo's going to go in here to look for that ice rod.
That certainly could be. Alternatively, or maybe additionally, the Quake Medallion. And Nitro with some more Blue Cane strats is rewarded with a little money for clearing blind, but more importantly, crystal number 3 for Nitro at 53 minutes and 50 seconds. Now we should see Chimo head on out and grab that fire rod, that has cleared out the front of Desert Palace, in hopes of some items that do not appear to have appeared. Oh, and this is interesting, neglecting the fire rod in favor of stealing the small key? Must have remembered that the fire rod is still sitting there on the ledge and wants that before fighting Landmolas. That would be my guess. Yep, there we are. Hayfield being bullied for 6 hearts by those dead rocks. Hayfield gives us another look at that quake requirement. Unfortunately, we still do not know where it is. Nitro making the Tripe Cave check, probably going to be happy about this blue goo in 2, 1, right there. Chimo's argument with the Landmolas ends just a piece of heart for the time and trouble, and a red pendant. It appears that Nitro is heading to the pyramid ledge. And Oro is trying and does not get the hook speed version of Harapot, so he is reverting to the bomb version.
Hayfield went risk some safeties to go and hopefully get that Samaria.
Going to use that blue goo to ensure the safe passage through the Spike Cave, and rewarded with the Cane of Samaria.
Oh, looks like we have vanilla medallion requirements.
Yeah, so we do.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're now going into my area.
Well, unless you find the Tempered Sword on Hard Item Pool, this is not going to get a whole lot better, so having the medallion, having already found the Cane of Samaria, this makes a lot of sense from Chimo's perspective. And Nitro giving us a catfish check. Do we have a Vanilla Quake? No, we have a full heart container instead. That was in fact Sank Heart.
Hayfield making that bolt, sucking it up and going nice palace.
That's another entirely reasonable play with the equipment loadout. The crystal is on offer here, so why not?
Especially considering that we have a pyramid fairy after this. That's an additional 2 checks for doing nice palace play.
And would certainly be rewarded in making that play whether or not there is an answer in Pyramid Fairy, because we know that the ice rod is on Pyramid Ledge. Looks like Chimo is in the basement of Mire in the Dark, is attempting to head for the boss with no lamp because the fire rod was so late that Skull Woods is just kind of hanging out there off on the northwestern side of the map and has not been done. Everyone else has been by the moth to pick up the lamp, but Chimo has not. Chimo is safely through and is going to make the play on into Vitreous's boss room. Nitro is into the Palace of Darkness, where unfortunately there is not a great deal on offer aside from the crystal that you need to beat the game. Hayfield, of course, with the ice play, and here is Oro about to pick up the Cane of Samaria.
There's Vitreous down for Chimo.
That was a very nice Vitreous kill, and has one of the 2 possible items from Misery Mire. Also evening up the crystal counts, that is the 4th crystal for Chimo at 1 hour and 1 minute. Nitro and Pod should be able to visit the Helmswar King here in the very near future and pick up a 4th crystal of his own. And again, having rushed the boss, Chimo now is back into Misery Mire, having a look at other potential items. And Hayfield is considering giving us a Hammer Cold Stare, now has decided to pop the blue goo, and out comes the Fire Rod. On Green Mail, these Cold Stare Puffs do 4 hearts of damage, the Falling Ice does 2. It is not a nice room at all. But safely cleared, there is the mirror on Cold Stare and Hayfield's 5th crystal of the game at 1 hour 3 minutes. That is a find.
Also puts in the possibility of a potential dungeon seed.
Well, at this point, what do you think, Bright Beginner? Do you go ahead and push that mirror knowing that you're not going to find the flippers behind it and hope that your Quake Medallion is just there somewhere?
To be honest, should probably just head over to Swamp Palace and see if anything, get any good product. That don't, then pretty much just probably safest bet is to probably run up and check the boots checks.
It appears we're going to get one mirror check here from Hayfield, the checkerboard cave. Oro has found the other item in Misery Mire. That was just some bombs, so looking, I think, still for the big key, and then the boss is on offer. That was a nice little door state extension clip there from Oro. It's a little finicky, and if you don't get it on the first try or two, it doesn't really save time, but it looks really swaggy. Chimo going to rectify the problem of not yet having cleared Mothula by clearing Mothula. Which will put all of Chimo's darkroom shenanigans back into logic just as soon as that mirror drops from the sky. Not the mirror, the lamp, excuse me. The mirror is on Cold Stare. Had the mirror on the brain since I saw it most recently, I guess. And that is Chimo's 5th crystal of the game. Still making a solid go of it, and Oro is headed for Vitreous. Having a little trouble getting that Samaria block to actually hold the switch down. It appears that Oro has not gotten spooky properly and is going to have to revert to the old method. And we have Nitro making the way onto the Helmsaur King here. Chimo heading into ice. Hayfield clearing out the top of Misery Mire. So, a little bit of something for everyone. Although they are things that we've seen, and since we're a little over an hour in, this is probably a good time to remind everybody that if you like what these runners are showing you, go ahead and give them some love, give them a follow, go into their channel, throw out a good luck emote, something like that. You know, this is a volunteer crew here. Bright Beginner has been helping me out on the comms today. We've got a good deal of tracking going on here with Link to the Past, Ken, and Rhodey. And I believe it was Drossi who was pulling the room together for us on the technical side. All of these people doing yeoman's work to bring you entertainment on a Wednesday afternoon or evening if you happen to be in another time zone for us. Yeah, Vitreous in this mode is one of the reasons that I do not personally run this mode. I find that in the handful of races that I actually did of it, I got here with a terribly insufficient number of safeties and no better than the Master Sword, and, you know, taking a couple of deaths to Vitreous is a little tilting, to say the least.
Nitro onto this Helmsaur fight.
It looks like Nitro is trying to be very wary of those fireballs. It makes a lot of sense in this mode particularly, where you have only the green mail and Helmsor King will charge you just like that. It does quite a bit of damage. I'm mildly surprised we didn't see another blue cane strat there. There was still a decent chunk of magic left there and only needed the one additional slash.
And Hayfield is done with Meyer.
Hayfield is in fact done with Meyer. That is Hayfield's 6th crystal at an hour 10. Unfortunately has not found the Ice Rod yet. Only Nitro has found that amongst our 4 restreamed runners here. And no one knows where that Quake Medallion is. So the hunt continues. No, the idea wouldn't have been to hit Helma with the blue cane spin, it would have been to be invulnerable to Helma charging you so that you could blue sword slash. Chimo looks to be using some Master Sword spins and some hammer hits to deal with those Cold Stare buffs, and all 3 of them are now down. Rewarded with the mirror, and that is Chimo's 6th crystal. Looking for the same 2 items that Hayfield was looking for, we have a handful of coin flips ahead of us as these 2 try to find their last couple of pieces of progression.
Or I'm making a smart play in King's Tomb.
Just some bombs there. I wonder if that king was not particularly well loved. Nitro has rescued the old man up on Death Mountain and is now going to start in making the mountain checks.
There's our final sword, the seed.
That is certainly an advantage that Hayfield has found. The upgrade from Master Sword to Tempered Sword is probably the most potent one of any of the sword upgrades, aside from going from no sword to 1.
And Chima doing a smart play in the Smith chain, that's easy. 2 checks.
Doing the slow pegs for some reason. Ah, there we go. Now remembering the boots. And we have Oro making that follow-on play into ice. Will be rewarded with the mirror just as soon as Cold Stare is defeated. And I think we may finally be seeing the play by Nitro over to pick up the flute out of Ice Rod Cave. This has eluded Nitro for some time.
Well, Chimo has just first out of Swordsmith.
That's not really what you want to see. Now Quake can certainly be there, and in our runners' minds, the Ice Rod could be as well. And I was incorrect. Nitro is going to continue to not go to Ice Rod Cave and is instead fake flippering into the Zora area.
I really don't want to call it, but you might be considering it.
Chimo with the purple chest in tow, and having found those little water wings is probably fairly likely to make this a play into swamp right after, going to be right next door to it. But making the mirror check along the way. And Hayfield Bay is going to show us fake powder. Just 20 rupees for all that time and effort, and now an empty magic bar. Looks like we'll see a Bombos tablet check before we find out if the swamp play is going to be made. Makes sense when you're right next door to both of them to do this one first.
I'm pretty sure we may have in all dungeons.
It's definitely looking like dips into everything is going to be completely required here. Now, maybe chat or one of our trackers or you, Bright Beginner, can save me on this one. Did anybody go and turn that green pendant into Sahasrara?
No, I do not believe so.
That's kind of an interesting outstanding check, especially since most of our runners have been up to the mountain there and have made that play quite a while ago. Having that as a still outstanding check. And yes, Chimo heading directly into Swamp Palace. Oh, Joshua N82 in chat says that Hayfield did in fact go turn that green pendant in, and that it was a red 20. Thank you much.
Yes, thank you, Josh.
Nitro has in fact found that flute and ice rod cave and is now going to activate it. One more time to unstuck the duck this seed for our 4 featured runners. And Oro, having made those boots checks, having the tempered sword for the cold stare fight, just pins them in the corner and slashes them to pieces. Rewarded with the mirror. Rewarded with crystal number 6. And joins the search for those last couple of items that everybody needs for Turtle Rock. Now, I think that the worry at this point, if you want the runners to have a good time, is that they find Quake here. Because Turtle Rock has a lot of item locations, and the Ice Rod does have its own little tendency to be tucked away on the end of Laser Bridge. Now, we, and Nitro, who's gone there, happen to know that it's just sitting on Pyramid Ledge in this seed. But if Quake happens to turn up here and swamp for these runners, you have to wonder, who still makes the play to Pyramid in that case?
Yeah, good point there. That's her gold sword.
Or
Right.
is opting to go pick up the powder. Unfortunately, the ultimate prize for that is really just the safety, which is not a bad prize, all things considered, but it's going to enable the magic bat check that we know is not going to pay out.
Oh, also picking up the final sword from Swamp.
Well, what do you know? There's always a sword in Swamp. And Chimo almost getting the one cycle with that quick kill hook dash puff strategy. I cannot make that work for the life of me, but it looks really cool. And a couple of quick-tempered spins. Down goes Argus. There is the blue pendant, and a 10-stick refill for whatever that was worth. And I believe that it was Chimo who made the check on pedestal relatively early, and so knows that having collected all 3 pendants does not do the thing that all runners would hope. Now it appears that Oro is going to make the big bomb play before going into Swamp Palace.
This could be big for Oro.
Especially while Chimo has gone back in and is going to clear left side swamp. Nitro has gotten back into the Dark World in the Thieves Town area. Not entirely certain where Nitro is headed at the moment, but it's going to pick up the hookshot. Had not checked the brewery on the previous trip. Is going to find out in just a couple of seconds that this is, in fact, the play that it was desired. Oro sees that ice rod, makes the beeline directly for it, and is now Quake from Go mode.
Now we're in
Very
Go
good.
mode.
Quake
I was in Go
Medallion.
mode. I was in Go mode, and now we're in 22 in.
There is the quick swap to the flute, is looking at bottles, maybe, yeah, probably fluting 2, going to fill those back up just in case. Yes, that is a gigantic play from Oro. That turned a time deficit into a decided advantage. Chimo did left side swamp. It appears that Hayfield Bay is now going to do left side swamp. Oro, who was definitely behind them in starting the hunt for the Ice Rod and Quake, has found the Ice Rod and Quake first. It does appear that Chimo is going to head for the big bomb play now, however, so we'll be just a minute-ish behind. And Nitro, with that hookshot in hand, is now on to the east side of the mountain. We'll find the boots here momentarily. Drossi, the Quake Medallion, was in the Pyramid Fairy, the right-hand chest. Oro stabs that sword right into the center of the medallion circle, activates the big medallion, and enters Turtle Rock.
And Chimo's just now gotten to Go mode it. And now we're in 24.
Yep, collected Quake, collected the Ice Rod, and Hayfield Bay is going to be about a minute behind that, picking up the big bomb right now. So now what we'll see is a festival execution and the finding of a couple of big keys. Maybe a few small keys, depending on how the layout for TR actually goes. Hayfield lays that bomb down, sees the ice rod. There's the dash right over for it. And Hayfield joins the Go Mode Club at 1 hour 25 minutes. We have
Nitro gets his Tower of Hera key. Big key.
Yep, making the play into the Tower of Hera.
Yeah, be
And
careful
Oro
with those
getting-
chain chomps.
Yeah, absolutely bullied by those chain chomps on green mail. They do gobs and gobs and gobs of damage. But there's the big key in chain chomp room, so Oro will be able to steal the poke key. Nitro appears to be having some issues with the screen placement and is now opting for a death warp back to the front of this dungeon. That crystal switch can be a little finicky to get it on the screen. Oro is already into the back half of Turtle Rock here, unfortunately in that Crystal Roller Room chest finding the compass, so a quick jaunt at least onto Laser Bridge is going to be required for the final small key needed. Oh, and Nitro unfortunately taking the fall there from the attempt to get to the big chest and falling down 2 floors is going to go ahead and nope out of Tower of Hera. That is unfortunate unless the... No, already did get the glove, never mind. You can go ahead and nope out, you've already found the only item of meaning in Tower of Hera. I thought the exact same thing. I'm seeing these comments in chat saying, Nitro no, but Nitro thankfully opened the menu up there and showed us that the glove was in inventory.
Now Oro on the Trinex.
Trinex with Tempered Sword is reasonably free. I feel like all of my Trinex fights lately have been Master Sword Hammer, which is substantially less free. And wouldn't you know it, that small key on Laser Bridge was in fact in its vanilla location.
And now we're down for question number 7.
That is, in fact, all 7 of them. That means that it is time for the final climb to climb Ganon's Tower once again. I'm sure chat is aware of this little game that we like to play, but you can get your guess in chat. The number 1 through 22 whole numbers only plays, because there are 22 possible locations in the basement of Ganon's Tower where that big key may be hidden from our runners today. They have to find that big key, because without finding it, they cannot climb the tower. And climbing the tower leads to the argument with the lizard, leads to facing off with the big pig himself. So go ahead and get those guesses in chat, and Oro is going to show us what's what here. Going to turn Samus's nose right up at Hope Room and instead start at the torch where there is a small key. Having found that, Chimo has picked up crystal number 7, and he is hot on Oro's heels. Looks like Nitro is taking just a minute here to consider the next potential play, having found those gloves and gone through the dark portion of the mountain. And Hayfield there making very short work of the first phase of Trinex. Oro finds the map in the compass room. Where else would you look for a map, right? Oro is through 11 checks, is now heading back to the left-hand side. But since Chimo appears to be sticking with that left-hand side play, and the big key was not over there on the right-hand side, unless of course it is in tile room, Chimo appears to have gained an advantage. Just a small key there in the Fire Snake room, and heading on towards Rando room. A red 20, a big 20, a fiver, and some bombs in Rando room. And Hayfield has entered the Ganon's Tower here, is heading for Hope Room. Nitro making the play into the Palace of Ice. To be rewarded eventually with the mirror. And there is the big key in Bob's chest by Oro's route. I believe that's going to be number 18. Although Chimo, having not done any shenanigans and simply going full left, found it first. Oro was the first into the tower and is thus the runner by whom we are counting checks. So, with that big key well in hand, we are climbing the tower. This is the true festival of execution. There is nothing left worth checking as far as these runners are concerned, unless they would hope to find another bottle with some kind of a potion or a fairy in it, I suppose, but you wouldn't really expect that from runners of this caliber. Chimo is just absolutely blitzing this gauntlet. Already up to Landmo 2. Looks like it's going to be Tempered Sword spins and some Fire Rod shots to get along with here. And a very fast 2-cycle for the effort. Nicely done.
Apparently now one of our
It appears. Go ahead.
It appeared that one of our runners has finished first. That went 3 to 26. GG's to Sin.
Yep, and it looks like Nitro is unfortunately having a bit of trouble setting up the Ice Palace bomb jump here. And getting all of the right positions is a little challenging, unfortunately. And now that Icebreaker is on offer, it is a somewhat less practiced trick. Oro performing the first of the torch puzzles just as Chimo clears the second of them. Oh, and Oro appears to have had a little hang-up there that has precluded the door from opening. Not all of the torches were lit at the same time. And as we say that, Hayfield appears to have started the climb as well. Making quick work of the first couple of red mimic rooms there. Chimo did have to backtrack just a little there to pick up the one additional small key required to make it through that last key door. But one cooperative Moldorm 2 later is going to bypass the ultimate chest of the game. Unfortunately, we will not know from Chimo's screen whether or not that has a vanilla value today. It looks like Oro has remembered the key count and has picked up the key off of the mini Helmosaur there before heading through the next couple of rooms. And Chimo is prepared for his argument with the wizard. Looks like doubles all the way down there. 2-2-2.
Yep, I agree with you. It's definitely doubles.
And as the wizard falls to the floor, a wild pig appears and turns into a bat the way it's been doing since 1991. Oro similarly with a clean Moldorm 2 fight and on through, passing by the ultimate chest of the game as well. Chimo with a very clean first phase for Ganon gets the 1 cycle. Getting a little bullied by Fire Bath at the end of phase 2 there, but has managed to push that in 1 cycle as well. On to phase 3. And as Chimo reaches halfway through phase 3, Oro has defeated the wizard and the wild pig appears on Oro's screen. Hayfield with an interesting strategy there, holding a southward-facing spin and moving into the Mini Helma room to pick that key up without any additional movement shenanigans on his part. Checking the penultimate chest of the game, finding 20 rupees, probably hoping for a piece of heart for a refill there. And Oro is in the Ganon fight. Does not get the 1 cycle phase 1, but has now pushed to phase 2. And now I'm not sure why Hayfield checked the penultimate chest of the game, because Hayfield has also bypassed the ultimate chest of the game. Just no time left for it, I suppose. But there it is, with 12 spins into the pig explodes. And as Chimo crosses this bridge, please get your GGs in chat. That is good for first on the restream.
Second overall with Xen finishing with an impressive time of 1:32.26, which puts Chimo second place in the race. GG's Chimo.
That is decidedly a good showing by Chimo. And now we have Oro into phase 4, and Hayfield just waiting for the duck to have found its moon pearl and come over to light the way, or perhaps carry the way, over to the pyramid. And Nitro is clearing out the iced tea room there. I believe that is the last location but for the boss for Nitro, and so should be seeing another cold stare fight here momentarily. And once again, with a 12th spin into the pig explodes on Oro's screen. Provided there are no problems crossing this final bridge of the game. Oro has finished second on the restream and third overall with a time of 1 hour, 43 minutes, and 32 seconds on Racetime GG. Get your GGs in chat for Oro.
Yeah, looks like we have Chimo in the waiting room.
And that is Hayfield Bay's 12th spin of Phase 4. Sword raised high in the air, the fanfare plays. Waiting that out, and as soon as the bridge is crossed, that would be a finish there. Get your GGs in chat for Hayfield Bay, finishing 3rd on the restream, 4th overall with a race time GG time of 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 51 seconds. A well-run race.
In a moment here, let's let Chima try for end review. Maybe we can bring him over.
Nitro performing kind of an interesting bomb jump there through the Icy J room to reach the Ice T room again. Not sure that I've seen that one before. And we are joined in the booth by Chimo. Good game to you, and Hayfield Bay as well. Good game to both of you.
GG's.
Yeah, GG.
So, I guess I should have done the big red bomb first.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, interestingly enough, both of you had gotten a head start on the hunt for the Ice Rod and the Quake Medallion, but you both went into Swamp, and Oro did not. Took the big bomb up there first, and was the first runner into Go mode.
Oh, nice. Yeah, but like Swamp Palace was in the way there. I would really wanted to do Pyramid Fairy first, but I can't skip Swamp there while I'm there off the Bombus tablet.
Yeah, pretty much the same thought from me. I cleared ice just hoping, you find what you want there because it's pretty quick. Just gambled on Ice Tea. But I didn't plan on checking Red Bomb right away because it wasn't in Logic without flippers. So I went ahead and did Smith Chain, and I don't know, it just felt like you had to do Swamp. It's the most dense location left, pretty much. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's an entirely logical play. It simply was not the play in this one. Rando is going to rando you sometimes.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
Now, early game routing, Chimo, you were kind of the outstanding routing difference maker here with your early plays. Everybody else did kind of the normal, expected go up into the Lost Woods, go into the village. You decided to hike straight over to Eastern, and so your Dark World access puzzle was a little different than everybody else's.
Yeah, I've been watching some other players how they start these standard seeds, and I saw someone else do that into Forest, save and quit, go straight to Eastern with the bow. I probably should have checked my map first, but luckily it was a crystal. So that felt pretty good, and then like if you got bombs and stuff, it makes sense to do mini Moldorm. Just the off chance you get like a flute or bottle, etc. So I had actually both before I went to CAC, which felt really good. Never happened before, practically. And then I had full Dark World access, so I went straight into Vu. Was still feeling really good until I saw the boots on Death Mountain, which I'm sure everyone got before me.
It seemed like everybody put off that Death Mountain play, at least for a little while, the hookshot locking it being there in the south of Village of Outcasts.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I guess so. Maybe not then.
Yeah, but there was also 3 dungeons to complete, so I
Yeah.
decided to wait for the mountain.
Yeah, that makes sense. I did the same. Like, I think my early game route was pretty efficient because of where the flute was, basically. And yeah, just going once into CAC and then straight into Vu. Wasted a lot of time in Skullwoods hoping for an item. Of course, there wasn't. But yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting because you had the flute so early, But because you also had so much of the Dark World access puzzle together so early, you had Dark World access in the village and were able to go straight in rather than making that check to 6 and checking Agina. Agina wouldn't have really been so important, but you could have seen that fire rod earlier, and that was an advantage that Hayfield had over you for quite some time, because when he went into Skull Woods, he was able to clear the whole thing out.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I would have put it off if I saw that there first.
Oh
That could have
yeah.
burned me pretty bad, but I was fluting to check Meyer medallion, and I was like, well, I might as well do a Gina right now and check this too, and it turned into clearing desert.
Yeah, that's right. I got fire rod before I went to South Closet and Eastern. That's right. So yeah, I didn't get bombs in escape. So after Saha, I went to got my bow, and then Eastern, and then Dark World access, and then decided to go to the Skullwood portal. When I was halfway there, I was thinking, I should have done pod first. It wouldn't have mattered, but I was afraid for if the mirror would have been in pod, it would have been more efficient with the routing. So yeah, but everything opened up after the myths, probably in Hera. So then went for the dungeons, and eventually it was Ice Rod and Quake left.
Yeah, it was certainly a fun seed to watch from our side of things. I hope you both had a lot of fun playing it.
It felt like a double ice rod hunt. Both items you need for Turtle Rock. At least Quake couldn't be in Turtle Rock, and Ice Rod was right beside it. So
I was commenting to Bright Beginner while the both of you were in Swamp Palace. What we really hope not to see here is Quake in here, because we had already seen on Nitro's screen the ice rod there on Pyramid Ledge, and I had to wonder if Quake was just in Swamp Palace, if that would have baited one or both of you up into the TR dive, assuming that
Of
ice rod was just
course.
going to be in it.
Of course. Straight away to TR. Ice Rod is always in TR. But not now. This is it.
yeah, maybe. I don't know. With Pyramid Fairy, that's a good number of checks. I possibly would have continued on, but who knows?
Yeah. I don't know, but yeah. I have to be in that situation to answer honest there.
Oh, sure.
I've just seen on Restream there was a sword in Pegasus Rocks, which I don't think I ever got to. That would have been kind of alright.
Yeah, that was everyone's third sword except for yours.
That was the one good thing about the Swamp play for me is I got tempered, otherwise it would have been for sure Master Sword finish.
And to answer a quick question from chat, the Cane of Samaria was in Spike Cave. We have Nitro unfortunately making a play into Misery Mire without having found the Red Cane.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate.
So, Chimo and Hayfield, do you two have any particular other thoughts on the seed that you'd like to share? Anything that I have neglected to bring up thus far?
Sure, it was fun to play it. It was an okay seed, and you gotta get as much as practice as you can before the main tournament. We're in the qualifiers, so yeah. Thank you for having us on the restream today.
Yeah, thank you for putting on a really good show for everybody who joined us at, what were we, a 2 p.m. Eastern start here, I think? That's the problem when I stop looking directly at the time and then I'm trying to convert it in my head. Never a good idea. Nitro has found the big key in Misery Mire. Unfortunately, going to be able to make the rest of the checks up top here, but is going to be Red Cane locked out of the bottom. Let's see what play we ultimately get from Nitro here. Still needs to make these fire-locked side checks. Now, we all know that the second item is on the boss, so I think the bombs were here in the northern fire-locked check.
Yes, I believe so.
But unfortunately still missing a number of items that he's going to need to complete the seed is going to make the cutscene chest check. So while we wait for the screen to shake, rattle, and roll a little bit there, this is your 2-hourly reminder to give these runners a follow if you happen to enjoy the entertainment that they have put on for you this afternoon. And again, Bright Beginner, my co-commentator, and of course our trackers, Link to the Past Kin and Roti, Drossi pulling things together behind the scenes. It does not happen without these people. So please show them all your love. If nothing else, just a short message in the chat saying, hey, thanks for what you do. I've enjoyed watching the race. I will say that I have enjoyed sitting here for a couple hours commentating. It's not a mode that I enjoy playing because, well, I'm not good at green mail fights, but it is still Link to the Past Randomizer, and I enjoy talking about it, so it's been fun for me.
It's certainly been fun for me too. Like getting back into the sense of commentating and everything. It's really been a pleasure.
And Nitro, not having found the item so desired in Misery Mire, is going to go ahead and make the play into the Palace of Sand, Desert Palace here. You know, it's one thing to look here from the commentary booth where you get to watch 4 runners and say, well, we know that the flippers that you need to logically get into Ice Palace are just on the Smith chain, and you go to Ice Palace and you get your mirror, but, it's a little different when you're down there in the thick of it and you're thinking, where in the world are these items that I'm still missing? What checks do I have left? Which one of them is actually going to pay out for me?
Exactly, I find myself in that situation when I'm running these seeds too. Part of it could be just racing anxiety, like wanting to do well.
Yeah, I will say to anyone out there who thinks, I'd kind of like to race, but I'm not sure about the whole being restreamed thing. I have yet to encounter a part of this community that has not been kind and welcoming. I have been in situations where I've been on the restream. I have been last by 15 minutes because I have made horrible, horrible routing choices or just outright mistakes. And, you get into the commentary booth afterwards, you come and do your interview, and it's still, you came out, you put on a good show. It's rando. We play it to have fun, don't we?
Yes,
And
most definitely.
sometimes that happens. I've seen it happen to substantially better runners than me. Yeah, it's certainly easy to think, yeah, it's just a game, right? Everybody can be good at this, but, you know, everybody has to start somewhere, and Nitro is a newer runner. We are aware of this, and Nitro has been putting on a good show for us regardless, proving that you do not have to be at the skill level of Hayfield Bay or Chimo to come in and be on the restream, to enjoy the game. Enjoying the game is the important part. It really is. I will say this is a bit of an interesting choice on Nitro's part, having chosen intentionally to dip out of Green Pendant Tower of Hera, but is now going to clear regular Pendant Desert.
I find that kind of interesting too, to be honest.
These are some uncooperative land molas, but it looks like temper toward spins are going to do the job all the same.
That's how you might finally be thinking about Spike Cave.
That is entirely possible. This is a mountain climb, and I don't think that there's much else left up here. The Spike Cave, you know, Green Pendant Hera, since we did just see a Pendant Dungeon clear, maybe that's on the brain. Yeah, getting that hammer out, I think we are going to see the Spike Cave play. This is the next play that Nitro needs to make.
Nitro just missing that potion there.
Yeah, unfortunately, you get the damage tick there before you get back out of the menu and can actually activate that bottle. That is unfortunate. That play may have actually worked out if Nitro had chosen Cape instead of Blue Cane. The Blue Cane uses magic at a slower rate, but it does have a startup cost in magic, which was enough to have the Blue Cane immediately turn back off. Comparatively with the Cape has none of that, it just uses the magic faster, so maybe that split second would have been enough for Nitro to realize that the blue potion was going to be needed. Just one of those little technical differences between the two items that it is good to know.
Nitro just now is finding this Mario.
Now, what do we see, you think? The play directly back over to Misery Mire?
I'd probably take on Mystery Mire. Oh, granted. You could really find the mirror, go and just nope out of Mire and then go get your mirror in Ice Palace. I'd probably lean towards full clearing Mire, to be honest.
Well, he's already cleared the top of Mire. He should know that there's an item left on the boss, and it appears that that is going to be the play. I believe it was a green 20 on Vitreous here, but it's still a crystal that Nitro is going to have to collect to complete the game. Mire 2 here is one of those rooms that is on the short list of things that you actually want sword beams for in this game. It makes this a whole lot easier. But Nitro is safely through regardless. Mire, along with Swamp Palace, really is one of the dungeons that I think just kind of nibbles you to death. And of course, while Swamp Palace really does it in just dribs and drabs, you know, half hearts, 1 heart from trap damage, when you're on Green Mail, the Wizrobes here will do, what is it, 3 hearts of damage, I think? Maybe 4? It's not the easiest dungeon in the world to go through on Green Mail.
Definitely not.
Nitro obviously trying to conserve health there, being very careful getting around that spike trap. Personally, I think that makes all the sense in the world. I played a seed of this mode a couple of weeks ago, and it felt like every time I got to Vitreous I was sitting on 3 or 4 hearts, which is not great when all you have is the Master Sword and the hammer and no bow yet. Needless to say, I lost that race because I took 2 deaths to Vitreous. And it appears that Nitro is going to go straight for Cape Strats on Vitreous. This is definitely the safe way to do this. With the Tempered Sword, those eyeballs will go down relatively quickly. And as you spam your sword, the cape drains just a little more slowly because it's an old game and it can only really do one thing at a time. There we are, down goes Vitreous. Nitro taunted with the fact that that would have been the silvers if this was not hard item pool, and collects crystal number 5. I don't know about you, Bright Beginner, my personal least favorite part of hard item pool is not the lack of silvers, it is the lack of blue mail.
Yeah, granted, the damage is really concerning when it comes to hard item pool. That's why I choose not to run it as much.
And Nitro is going to continue this boss rush, is not finding the flippers yet, so still going to have to do some fake flipperage to get back over to Ice Palace. The saving grace of this is that with the 5-6 crystal in hand after clearing Cold Stare and getting the mirror, with no flippers, the Swamp Palace play is not really on offer. The flippers were on the Smith portion of the Smith sequence, I believe. Oh, you know, Smirk, that is a great point. I had not noticed that at the time, but you are correct. Oro did not collect those flippers. Kind of tough to get into Swamp Palace when you don't have them. At least, not without some major glitch shenanigans, which are not allowed in this version. Well, Nitro is running through here. Since the Speed Gaming bot has decided to bring this up, I will note that the submissions are in fact open for the marathon to benefit No Kid Hungry, a charity dedicated to providing meals for children in need. That marathon will run from May 13th through the 16th. The deadline for submissions is April 16th, and there is a sign-up link for you in the chat. Nitro is having to take a little bit of a roundabout route here, having not done the Ice Palace bomb jump, but with the Cane of Samaria well in hand, it is not a problem at all. It looks like Nitro is heading for the ferry refill room here. You can jump down when the pegs are in the proper position, get into one of those spots, and there are 3 ferries here for you. Okay, here we go. We'll get a cold stare fight here momentarily. Yes, I think Corvain has the right of it here. Not enough magic. We are going to see an early blue goo usage. Looks like equipping the second blue goo in advance just in case it becomes necessary. Now it is necessary. And there they are with one very wicked couple of fire rod shots there. All three cold stare puffs explode at essentially the same time. Nitro collects the mirror and crystal number 6. Let's see what the choice is here, because without flippers on offer, the world is a little smaller. The Swamp Palace play is not on offer for Nitro here. But we may be seeing a Smith sequence, which would result in flippers momentarily. Yes, Ice Palace was the other part of the 5-6 combo, and does unlock the Pyramid Fairy, which is 100% required this seed. Quake is there. Remembering that the powder is here and going to pick that up. It's a nice safety to have for the end of the game. Yes, definitely with the mirror checks are on offer, so we shall see what happens here. Hey, yes, I think we are getting a little frame drop on... I'm not sure if that is on our restream side or on Nitro side, personally. It could be either. You know, it's kind of tough to tell from everybody else since their screens aren't moving anymore.
Yeah.
To answer Smirk's question from chat, how many races did we have today? We had a grand total of 5. Mildly surprised that more of our early afternoon racers didn't want to get in a little more practice for the main tournament, but here we are. Speaking of that main tournament, for people who are still here in the chat with us at the moment, the next qualifier for that is actually tonight. That will be qualifier number 8, beginning at 11:10 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, that is on a 10-minute delay for official tournament purposes, so the runners will be getting underway right at the top of the hour. But that will also be found right here on Speed Gaming Prime. Yeah, I see you there in chat saying that it's too late for you, and some of you are going to do it anyway. Well, it's not necessarily too late for me, but it is too hard item pool for me. The time for the upcoming qualifier tonight is 11 o'clock Eastern for the runner start and the restream beginning at 11:10 Eastern Time. Magic Bat just handing out 20 and saying, "Go away, I was sleeping." That seems to be a fairly common mode for NPCs in this game that hand you things. The guy on the bridge, the magic bat, the small child. Here, take this and go away, I'm trying to rest. That is certainly a sentiment that I have heard quite a bit, Smirk, and I echo it. If part item pool was blue mail, I would probably be partaking in these qualifiers. But at some point, the game becomes less fun when you're walking around on no safety and two-shot range all the stinking time. Yeah, that's just my personal preference. Some people seem to enjoy it quite thoroughly. That is certainly true, Corvain. There is indeed a mode for pretty much everybody in Rando these days. There are some modes that are set up such that if you've only got about half an hour to play, you can generate a seed that's probably not going to take you much more than that. If you want something that's going to take you gobs and gobs of time, if you want to do cross keys with all sorts of weird enemizer settings, you can do that too. Or if you want to play the current Festive Randomizer, which has implemented some of the interesting and long sought-after possibilities that have been suggested on the Discord for quite some time now. Quite a few of those are available to you for a limited time only. We are, in fact, going to be airing a race of that on April the 1st. Probably obvious why some of the changes that are made to that are maybe a little trollier than usual. Now, let's see, is Nitro going to make the play into Swamp? No, Nitro is turning north. We may, in fact, get the Pyramid play before the entry into Swamp Palace, and that is the correct answer. Yep, there we are, Nitro picking up the big bomb. Does not know it yet, but we'll find out in 20 or 30 seconds that this was 100% the right play. Yes, both Chimo and Hayfield Bay checked Swamp first when they found the flippers on the Smith sequence. Oro managed to bypass the Smith sequence, not pick up the flippers, and thus gained a fairly substantial advantage because the other two full cleared Swamp Palace. And there it is, the Quake Medallion in the right side of Pyramid Fairy, and go mode for Nitro. I have always kind of wondered about the tracking side of this. It is not something that I have tried personally, but I have heard the stories about just how hungry the tracking system can be from time to time. Eating
Yeah, I've
inputs.
experienced it. Kid's pretty hungry, I tell you that.
You know, maybe if we fed it between races, that wouldn't happen so much. One use of that newly acquired Quake Medallion later, and Nitro will be entering Turtle Rock. Thankfully, the layout here was relatively straightforward, with a stealable Poke Key. I suppose that is a possibility. Given the items that Nitro has, the half magic would be a fairly handy safety. You can cape up for Ganon. And I don't know, it's probably just me, but I feel like anytime that I don't have half magic, Trinex tends to wiggle around a little more. Makes phase 1 a little more difficult. Probably just anecdotal evidence, but you never know. Sometimes it feels like the game just knows. Nitro is going to need to be a little careful here, down to 3 hearts. I'm pretty sure those chain chomps will do 4 on green mail. And there they are, being just as uncooperative as one might expect. I would say that the Chain Chomp room has one of the more underappreciated difficulties in the game. You know, usually by the time you get here, you've got a mail upgrade, you're sitting pretty on hearts. And, you know, on the hard item pool, that's not the case. Going to get some Samaria and Cape safety strats here. Finds the big key. And out comes the powder, an excellent safety play. You know, a lot of runners make it look easy getting all 4 of those anti-fairies with one application of powder. And more often than not I get it, but it's not quite as easy as they make it look.
Yeah, I agree.
So, Bright Beginner, while we're waiting for Nitro to make his way on towards Trinex here, tell me, how long have you been involved with this whole Link to the Past randomizer thing?
Me personally, I've been late to the past for like at least about a year and a half now. Well, if you really want to count another the SMZ3 crossover randomizer, I've been doing that. So like one of my first randomizers I played. Like I've been playing that for like is about the same as Link to the Past, in like a year.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Super Metroid is not a game that I have a whole lot of familiarity with. It's not one that I played as a kid, so the SMZ3 Rendo is kind of a black box to me in some ways.
They find I would encourage more people to try it out.
We had Nitro there with not enough magic to get the Cane of Samaria platform to appear, and so forced to burn the blue goo there. Or, not the blue, the green, rather. That's fine, I believe Nitro still has a couple of blues on offer. And that is an interesting track through that room. That is not the first time I've seen it, but it seems to be only recently that I've been seeing players kind of looping back around through the top of the platform maze there in Turtle Rock, and then coming at the bottom of the screen from the left-hand side rather than the right. I do not know if it is faster or slower, if it's just a personal preference kind of thing. But it is something that I've seen at least a handful of times recently, so I thought I would mention it. And this is a good little bit of game knowledge. If you take the safety door and mirror, you can come over here and pick up a couple of fairies. One might hope for small green magic decanters there under those, but no, in fact, they are just 5 rupees apiece. Okay, Nitro equipping rods and getting ready to go into the Trinex fight. And see, there we are with the head being just shifty enough to cost a couple of additional ice rod shots. Meanwhile, the ice head has made a mess of the floor like it likes to do. And there Nitro is safely through phase 1. Getting a little bullied by Trinex there at the top of the screen, but is in fact through. Once the snake finishes exploding, we'll be rewarded with, what was it, bombs or money? No, a piece of heart. There we are. And that is crystal number 7 for Nitro. With that, one more time for this race, we will see the final climb, that climb to Ganon's Tower, the search for the big key, the climbing of the tower up through the gauntlet, and the argument with the wizard that he may in fact reach the pig and save the world. We'll see what play we get here. We've seen that the answer is in fact full left, but a lot of runners like to at least make these first couple of checks on the right first. I am one of them. And when there's a small key here, some of us then tend to prefer to continue to the right and check compass room. But in this case, with no small key on offer, we get Hope Room, and then off to the left we go. I think the key layout got a little questionable in my mind because Oro decided to skip that initial dive into Hope Room and instead went to the left to the Stalfos room. Going to ether down all three of these Stalcos. That is a personal favorite of mine. It is the faster of the two medallions that remove those skeletons outright. And not that Nitro needs it at this point, but that is yet more spare potions money. There is a way to only work with the pegs in this second room. It requires you to use the Cane of Samaria, and there is about a 2 pixel wide gap for proper placement of the Samaria block to finagle the Samaria shot when you break the block through the gap there and to hit the switch. I toyed around with it for maybe 10 or 15 minutes once in the practice hack, decided that it was too finicky for me and that I would just keep doing it the old-fashioned way. But it does in fact exist. I'm fairly certain that I saw it on a Speed Gaming Daily restream. It was some runner who's substantially better than I am, of course, who would even think to do such a thing as a time-saving measure. Nitro is on beyond the unfulfilling rando room there. We'll be picking up the big key after a couple of more screen transitions in Bob's room. There is a way to use the red boomerang in that second of the 2 crystal switch rooms that we're talking about. You have to kind of stand in the doorway and throw it at a diagonal and then kind of run out over to the right where you want to be really quick. I'm not personally a boomerang strats person. If I do not have Cane of Samaria, I tend to just fall back to bombs. It's a little slower, but it does get the job done. Nitro converting one of those empty bottles to a fairy in a bottle. And with the big key well in hand, it is time for Nitro's climb. There are a lot of ways to do these mimic rooms, but I don't know that there are as many as there are runners of the game, but there are a lot of options for maneuvering those mimics around. For the longest time I had trouble with that cannonball room, and what I would do, and what I still sometimes do when I'm feeling a little lazy, is to throw myself off right at the beginning and then dash through while I have invincibility frames. Alternatively, of course, you can pop out the cape or the cane of Berna, turn one of those on and dash on through. Sometimes I think that the Stalcos are the real final boss of the gauntlet, but Nitro is just going to throw ether at them and tell them to go away. I like that move. I also like this use of the hookshot to make those, both the skeleton and the red Zezak stop moving. It's tough enough on ice, and when your enemy is just kind of moving around at random away from you as well, it's not the easiest thing in the world to get them. Get some nice tempered sword spins there. Down goes Lanmo 2. That fire shooter in the bottom left-hand corner makes it a more difficult fight than you would really think. You think, oh, it's just an additional fireball shooter. It shouldn't make Lanmo that much more difficult, should it? You might be surprised. And now a couple of the more satisfying rooms in the game when you have the Cane of Samaria, these Wizaroob rooms. Looks like Nitro is going to take it safe and not try to get all of them in one cycle, which is all well and good. He can just poke or slash this last one. Going to clear all of these skull pots out of the way before starting the torch puzzle. Ah, interesting, allowing him to take the long dash out of the room. Very nice. And Nitro does remember that one more small key is going to be required. Takes out both of those mini Helmosaurs. Going to take that full magic decanter and bypass the penultimate chest of the game. We have not seen anyone open the ultimate chest of the game. Hayfield showed us that penultimate one. It was a green 20, if I'm recalling correctly. A slash and a spin, down goes the Moldworm 2. And we do see the ultimate chest of the game. Nitro is going to show it to us. It is the Compass of Ganon's Tower. Just in case you were unsure at this late date where the boss was, now you can find out. Let's see how Nitro's argument with the wizard goes, shall we? For the final time this restream, it is just Link versus the 3 of Agatu. And there it is, with 6 shots reflected into the wizard topples to the ground, and one more wild pig appears. It is awfully nice of Ganon to make this hole in the top of the pyramid for the hero to follow him on in and commit the act of his demise. If he would just teleport into the pyramid instead, I'm not sure that the hero would ever get there. And it looks like Nitro is going to come down here and, going to check the Pyramid Fairy refill. It is green potions. Personally, I might have been tempted to take one green and then bonk the tree and try to bottle a fairy with the other one.
Yeah, I would have done that too.
But then I am terrible at the green male Ganon fight, so being able to be scraped back up off the ground is something that is very valuable to me. Instead, it appears that he's going to turn those extra green goos into plenty of cape time. This is a fully reasonable strat. I like it quite a bit. Ooh, and that firebat came in from left field and decided that Nitro needed to go. Ooh, and there come those firebats again. But another fairy in a bottle. I will point out so that this is said on the restream in case Nitro happens to watch it later, and for anyone else who is not familiar with this strategy. When you equip the cape, when you use the cape, if you hold on to a wall, you don't even have to pull a direction, just stand next to the wall, hold A so that, you're kind of doing that latch onto the wall animation. The cape will not drain, so you can wait out fire bats and things like that in Phase 2 of Ganon with that strategy. And I see that Irritable Penguin in chat has come to exactly the same conclusion. That is definitely something that can make this a little easier.
I mean, and they're on Zebas. Can't I just go... Hold on, let me go grab those silvers really quick.
Man, I totally neglected the Super Metroid portion of this game. No wonder. No wonder it's so hard. I bet you the mail upgrades are over there too.
To be completely honest, I'd probably say they are.
Nitro getting some good spins in here just to be careful of those fire bat launches. The fire bats only do 2 hearts of damage in phase 4, so does have a little leeway to work with here, but not a whole lot. You'd rather not take the first hit, because then you get worried. Oh no, no, no. Nitro has backed into a bat.
That may be a forfeit. Let me check.
It does appear to be, unfortunately. Nitro 6003 has forfeit the race.
And that's a pretty sad way.
That was unfortunate. Was probably just a spin or two away from having finished the fight there.
Yeah, singular spin would have did it.
But while we wait to see if Nitro wants to join us here, let's have a look at the upcoming speed gaming schedule, shall we? We have Metroid Prime Randomizer coming up on this very channel, Speed Gaming Prime, at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. On Speed Gaming 2 at 8 p.m. Eastern, we have Super Metroid Rando League 2021. And at the same time on Speed Gaming 3, also SM Rando League 2021. As I was saying earlier, we do have a main tournament qualifier at 11:10 p.m. Eastern Time coming up here on Speed Gaming Prime as well. So if you have not yet had your fill of rando, we have more rando coming right at you. So remember to follow Speed Gaming for all of your speed gaming needs. Also our channels, Speed Gaming 2 through 6. If you are not a native English speaker, we have a few other foreign language streams as well. I believe we've got Deutsche, French, maybe Spanish or something along those lines. I feel like there are a couple that I'm forgetting. Please fill them in chat if I've forgotten anybody. I do not intend to. I just do not have the list right in front of me.
And
we do have Portuguese. And once again, give a follow to these runners. They have put on a good show for you today. Hayfield Bay, Chimo, Oro, and Nitro 6003. Thank you so much to my co-commentator, Bright Beginner, for keeping me on track today. We've had a pretty good run of it, I'd say. thank you to both of our trackers, Link to the Past Ken and the Roti2952, for pushing all the buttons, especially now that quick swap is a thing pretty much everywhere. It's an even more important job than ever to make sure that we know what all of these runners have. It allows us to make better speculations on where they might go because we never get to see their inventories anymore. And to round out the crew, thank you to Drossi for pulling together all of the technical stuff on the back end. This does not happen without you. It does not happen without all of you who want to come in and watch this. Thank you all so much for giving us 3 hours of your time on this Wednesday afternoon. Bright Beginner, do you have any final thoughts here for us?
No, I personally really wanted to shout out the old speed gaming community and allowing me to commentate this race. Saying it was one of my times when I first came back. Overall, I really enjoyed this and hope to be able to commentate and track in the future. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
I will echo that. If anybody has been watching this and you think, you know, I like to talk about this game, maybe I don't want to be the person here showing off my actual skills running Link to the Past Randomizer, but I'd like to talk about it, or, you know, I can push some buttons behind the scenes and make sure that these trackers get updated. This is an all-volunteer crew. You can get onto the Speed Gaming Discord, you can sign up, you can come in. It is, once again, a very welcoming part of a very welcoming community. We can absolutely use the help. Please do, if you are so inclined. And with that, for Bright Beginner for the Speed Gaming channel of networks, this is MindDM. Signing us off for now. We will, of course, be back later for some Metroid Prime Randomizer, some Super Metroid League, some Link to the Past 2021 main tournament qualifiers later today on Speed Gaming. But for now, have a good afternoon, everybody.